Hello, everyone. A very good day to each one of you, and a warm welcome to today's workshop. The new year, a fresh perspective. First of all, I would like to wish each and every one of you a truly blessed and safe new year. All of you are here today, which means that we are all ready to take on this new year, looking at it from new lens, looking at it from a fresh perspective. When I heard the word fresh, I asked myself, why not a new perspective? But the topic is a fresh perspective. I said, okay. Just looking at the year in a fresh way. And I thought, when after a hard day's work and you want to freshen up yourself, what do? And you take a shower, you change your clothes, maybe you have a power nap, maybe eat something. So these are different ways in which we freshen ourselves. If you want to freshen a room, you might maybe give it a coat of paint, maybe redecorate, maybe change around the furniture, give it a fresh look. These are different ways in which we freshen things. Because when we're going to freshen something, it's already there. Right? We don't have to go recreating anything. It's already there. And I'm just going to give it a fresh look. So I thought a new year, a fresh perspective could actually mean giving some freshness, bringing freshness to my life. My life is already there, right? We can't not have a life. It's a new year, but life is continuing, right? It's the same me, same family members, same friends, same colleagues, work colleagues. We're living in the same place, same job, maybe. So those external things, right, are the same. So everything is as is, but a fresh perspective means I'm going to bring some freshness. I'm going to freshen up the way in which I live my life. I'm going to freshen up my relationships. I'm going to freshen up how I perceive everything around me. I'm going to freshen up my attitude towards work, towards my friends. Freshen up the way in which I manage, handle, use my facilities. I'm also going to take a fresh look at the kind of choices I make. These were some of the thoughts that were crossing my mind when I heard the topic, a new year, a fresh perspective. And I know maybe all of us were in high hopes that come 2021 and with the vaccine, etc., that things will, maybe come back a little bit, start coming back to normalcy. But here we are. Many parts of Europe and in England too, there is another phase of lockdown. Look what's happening in America. The world is still in chaos in many different ways. And we are still faced with challenging situations. We are faced with events that we never expected would take place in our life, which means we are dealing with things that we probably weren't trained for, taught for. We didn't learn. But we are also sensible people. We are also grounded. And even though life has thrown us all these unexpected challenges, it doesn't mean that I don't know how to deal with them. Actually, we do know. And I'm sure that over the past year or the past months, you would have come up with ways and methods to sustain you, to nurture you, to help you pull through month after month, or rather maybe day after day. And look, a whole year has passed by. And here we are again. Here we are together. At least we're alive. We have a home. We're safe. Hopefully we have a job, but at least we're alive. So let us pause for a moment, actually a few moments, and reflect on what were some of the methods that you used during the past months, especially at the beginning of global lockdown, in March 2020. What were some of the methods you used to nurture yourself and your family during those past months? Let's pause for a couple of minutes and reflect on that. And if possible, maybe write them down and jot them down. What were some of those things that you used, you came up with methods to nurture you, to support you and your family? And I will play some soft music to Thank you. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see or hear what you came up with, but I do hope that you have some of these answers. Things like you took time to spend with your family time together, like maybe do some gardening, because this all took place in the summer, well, spring into summer. So maybe some gardening, maybe you play games together, maybe you watch TV, watch a movie or so. Maybe you cook a meal together. Hopefully also you took time for yourself. I know it was very challenging, a lot of uncertainties, especially if you weren't working. But I do hope that you also took some time to journey within and nurture yourself. And also maybe you took time to do the wonderful things that you always wanted to do, but couldn't. Of course, things like going for walks and biking and so on, we weren't allowed to, but indoor things, maybe read a book, maybe maybe pray together, do things, fun stuff that you never really had the time to do. So I hope those were some of the things that you wrote, that's what you've done. And probably we also, if you want to bring this fresh perspective to this new year, we might also want to look at some of the choices that we made that weren't that great. They didn't really bring as much benefit to us. Some of the choices that we make that actually brought us down a little bit. Because to freshen up this year, my perspective to this year, I especially would not want to make the same mistake, right? I especially would want to do things differently. Don't you agree? So what were some of the choices that you made that were not so helpful, actually? Maybe you might want to jot down one or two of those. One or two of the areas where didn't go so great for you. Great. So, thank you. So, since we want to give this new year a fresh perspective, we've taken two very important steps. One is looking at some of the choices that were not helpful. So it means I need to remove that. And we also looked at some of the things that we did that nurtured us. So we might want to keep that. And if I'm going to remove something, I would need to replace it with something, right? So what is it that I would like to add to my life? And what is it I would like to keep? So that there is that feeling of freshness. Because when we freshen up, there is that feeling of light, the energy around us is gentler, we feel more energized, there is a joy, especially if you freshen up a room and you walk in, then it's like, wow, it looks so beautiful, right? The energy is nice and fresh, nice and light. You feel vitalized. So for this year, even though there are already not very beautiful things, already we are slipping into like a repeat of 2020. There is lockdown, there is vaccine, but there's still not 100% certainty as to what next month will bring. So we would like to know that we're not going to be making the same mistake we've made last year, but we would like to know that some of the things that we did to nurture us, we will continue. So again, let's take a pause and reflect on what are some of the things I would like to keep and what are some of the things I would like to change in myself that will help to bring about this new perspective or this fresh perspective. So again, what are some of the things I would like to keep? And what are some of the things I would like to change or I would need to change? And if I'm going to change those things, what will I replace them with? What's the fresh coat of paint I want to give to the room of my mind? What new way, in what way I want to rearrange the furniture internally to make things feel differently? What I want to keep and what I want to change, or what am I going to replace it with to bring that freshness within myself? I give you another 2 minutes to jot that down. So what is it that we want to keep? And what is it I want to change? And what is it I want to change? What will I replace that with? So wonderful. Thank you. I hope you are doing fine. I hope you're enjoying this session. And again, it would have been so nice to hear what you have to say. However, since that's not possible, I will share with you what it is that I came up with for myself. The two things I came up with, and one of them is to simplify my thinking. Actually, to simplify my life. That's what I thought of. And when I say simplify my life, I thought of what I mean is that, can I live with less? Is it possible? Can I still be happy if I have a little less of something? And my answer is, of course, I can still be happy. Can I be content? Am I content? And my answer is yes. I mean, if whatever is available, when it's available, it's fine. But if I can live a simpler life, in many ways, it means that I will be able to be happier. It means my thinking, the quality of my thinking will also improve. So I decided to ponder on this a little bit more. And I thought, look at our lives today. If my source of income is a little less than before, it means I may not be able to afford to buy as many things as I had done in the past. But it doesn't mean that I will not be able to eat. It doesn't mean I wouldn't have a house to live in. It just means that I would need to prioritize my priorities. And maybe I don't need 36 varieties of food. I don't need to eat the gourmet style of food. Maybe a little simple food would be good too, because it will have all the nutrition anyway, and my body will be fine. I have clothes in my wardrobe anyway. Do I need to go shopping more clothes? You know, things like that I was thinking, why not use what I already have? That's one. And the other thing I was thinking, I said, you know, whenever we have a project, we tend to put a lot of energy into it, into accomplishing that project, right? And it's necessary. We need to think, we need to plan, we need to go through all the steps, we need to do so many things to make this this party, this project, this event successful. And it's necessary that we do all these things. But you know, as human beings, what we do, we tend to think a lot extra. We worry a lot, in other words. We worry, we're afraid something may not go right, we're anxious. We get ourselves all stressed out. Sometimes we can't even sleep properly because this big event is just circulating in my mind over and over. This to be done, that to be done, this didn't happen, so many things. And so I told myself, hey, how about if I think a little less? If I have less thoughts the quantity of thoughts have reduced, it will give myself, my mind, the opportunity to think quality thoughts, because all my energy is not being consumed into thinking so much. Instead, I use some of that energy into improving the quality of my thinking. I put more positive energy into my thinking so that that positive energy then flows out into the project that I'm handling. And in that way, there is more efficiency and there is a guaranteed success. So I don't have to worry about success because I saved my energy from one area and I've put it into the area where it is more needed. So that was one of the thoughts I had for this year. Simple thinking, to simplify my thinking. In other words, to reduce the quantity of thoughts and to increase the quality of my thinking. And this goes for any area of my life. And the second one I thought of is, what can I do to nurture myself and how can I help my fellow brother and sister? And what I thought of is that, everyone, everyone, even the one who is inflicting pain, knowingly or unknowingly, each one of us, including ourselves, need love, need to feel loved, to be loved, and to share love. And actually, we've spent a lot of our lives looking for love, but more unconditional love. All of us, we want to be loved unconditionally, right? We want everyone to accept us the way we are. But the funny thing is, we ourselves are not giving unconditional love to others. We might love one or two unconditionally, but we're not able to love everyone unconditionally. See, if we ourselves are not able to give unconditional love to others, how will anyone give unconditional love to me? Because each one of us is looking for the same. So if we're looking for unconditional love, how will I give unconditional love? I don't have it. That's why I'm looking for it. And so then we end up demanding it from each other because we fill our love with so many expectations. And so I thought that if I want to be, and I have a right to be loved, we all have that right? We all have that right to unconditional love. It's part of what the human soul needs on this earth. It's part of the purpose that we are here. Is to share unconditional love. But I can only share what I have. And so I thought for this year, if I can't expect unconditional love from anyone, at least I can give myself unconditional love. How much do I love myself unconditionally is the question that we have to ask ourselves. And what is loving myself unconditionally? One of the answers to that question, how can I love myself unconditionally, is if I do not judge myself when I make a mistake, but instead to understand that mistakes are the means by which I can learn. Yes, if I do not learn from my mistakes, then that's another problem, right? But if I'm prepared to accept that I've made a mistake, own up to it, and then learn from that and correct myself, then that's one of the greatest ways in which I can love myself unconditionally by not judging myself. Another way in which I can show myself unconditional love is when I feel I need some time for myself, my inner self, some self-care. I need to give myself the permission to take that time out and give myself that self-care. Whether it is to go for a walk, whether it is to just be in a safe corner and read a book or journal or do some meditation or just be quiet, or to read a book maybe. You need some quiet time. Yes. If you can give yourself that permission that you are entitled to that, you have a right to it. That is giving yourself unconditional love or loving yourself unconditionally. Or even if you're very tired and you need to close your eyes for just a few minutes. I remember there was a time when I had night duty. You know, night duty could be very challenging because for those of you who did shift work, you would know that even no matter how much you sleep during the day, you really can't sleep a lot. Nighttime, there are some hours in the night when it could be very challenging, right, to stay awake. So I remember I would sit in the chair and I would just close my eyes and just keep my mind absolutely quiet. Just very quiet. Maybe not even thinking anything. And like for 5 minutes. And then I would feel so fresh, so energized that I can then go on for the rest of the time, 4 or 5 hours after. And so just to do that for yourself is also loving yourself unconditionally. You need it. Don't push yourself. There's no need to push yourself. 5 minutes, nobody will miss you. And you come back energized anyway. So maybe you might want to think about different ways in which you can show unconditional love for yourself. Those were some of the things that came up for myself. You might have your own methods in which you can show unconditional love for yourself. So I invite you to explore those and maybe make a list, 3 or 4. And every time you show that unconditional love for yourself, give yourself a check mark or a star. You know, at the end of the day, look back and see how many stars you gave yourself today. Or even look back and ask yourself, how did today go? How much did I love myself in an unconditional way. How much did I share unconditional love to others? So give yourself a couple of stars every day. It would be lovely. And one other thing that I thought could be helpful is if you take a jar, a nice big jar, and on that jar you label it 2021. And every evening before you go to bed, write one thing that you are grateful for. And drop it in that jar. And at the end of the year, look how many things you will get. 365 things that you are grateful for. And if you can't wait until the end of the year, you want to open the jar before, that's fine too. It might inspire you to be even more grateful. I love doing that. You're probably already doing something similar, but I just thought of sharing that with you. For those who are already doing, wonderful. Oh, and for those who haven't, if you want to try that, it's great. Yeah? Write at least one thing every day for what you are grateful. It's also being unconditionally loving to yourself and to those around you. And before we close today, I would like to share with you a New Year affirmation. There are 12 arts of living. Actually, there are 16 arts of living. But I thought of sharing 12 with you, one for every month of the year, January to December. You can take one for every month, or you can take the one that refers to your birth month, the month you were born in. And you can explore that for the rest of the year and develop that art of living for yourself. So I will share screen with these arts, and we shall go through them one by one from January to December. And if you want to take them all, wonderful. And if you want to take your birth month, that's also fine. So this will be our New Year gift to you. Hope you enjoy it. So let's share the screen. Here we are, the 12 arts of living. For those who are born in the month of January, the art of moving forward. Moving forward means mastering the ability to maintain momentum and consistency. It involves an understanding that to avoid stagnation, effort must be exerted, and that sustained effort is best fueled by love. For those who are born in February, the art of being happy and content. Contentment is an expression of deep satisfaction in the soul. It becomes an art when you understand and practice thoughts and actions that produce happiness as their fruit. It means learning to disassociate yourself quickly from anything that leads you away from what is joyous. March, the art of sustaining the self. Sustainable energy is precious. This art involves understanding what it takes for you, for your energy, and nurture the thoughts, food, and activities that are healthy and generate wellness and self-respect. April, the art of refreshing. That's beautiful, isn't it? Feeling refreshed. Refreshing yourself means knowing how to reset energy at a higher level. It involves stepping out of the mundane or old mindset to relax and generate new energy. Refreshment usually involves silence or fun, anything that helps wash away the debris accumulated during everyday life. May, the art of thinking. We create our world based on thoughts. This art is about mastering the ability to renew your mental creations and reclaim the power to create high quality thoughts that are independent of external influences and align with your true self. June, the art of communicating. Communication becomes art when feeling and speaking are congruent. Words are clear and have a benevolent effect. It requires sensitivity to simplicity and clarity, and the capacity to balance saying too much against too little. July, the art of harmonizing with others. Creating harmony is an art that involves thinking about other people generously and in ways that bring mutual benefit. It involves understanding your own unique part in such a way that you play it well. This saves everyone's energy. August, the art of being still inside. Stillness is an art. It requires the practice of rising above the movement and turbulence in the mind and body to conquer the restless compulsion to act. September, the art of leading. Leading is an art when the qualities most beneficial to the situation guide the conversation and action. A skillful balance of leading and following, together with an absence of ego, create an atmosphere where all can lead. October, the art of learning and teaching. Teaching the self well is the art of learning. Learning and teaching are partners in the dance of discovery. Together, they build a bridge between the natural interest to learn and the subject of focus. November, the art of transformation. Transformation honors the natural desire of the soul to grow by shedding beliefs and fears that limit new expression. It requires knowing what to let go of, when to move on, and how to make something good out of any situation. Always trusting that even in the worst situations, there will be something to learn. And December, the art of leisure and work. Leisure is a state of mind. Work becomes leisure when approached with love and lightness. This art enhances all action by filling it with a light attitude and an expression of pure intent. Hard work becomes a game when played with love. So, I hope you got all of that. I hope you enjoyed that. And I wish you all the best. Mine is January, but I love them all. I was thinking maybe I take them all and add to my list of the things I would like to see differently to bring that freshness for myself. So now to close, I think it is important that we spend a few minutes in silent reflection as we ground what we talked about today, what we reflected on today. So for these last few minutes, I will guide you into a silent meditation where we reflect on some of these aspects. So taking a deep breath in and releasing, letting the body relax. Let your breathing be deep and natural. As the body relaxes and all the tension melt away, gradually you allow all thoughts to fade into the distance. All thoughts of the world, all sounds of the outside world to fade into the distance. As the mind becomes quieter, gently remind yourself, I am a being of love. I am love, actually. Love and peace are my innate nature. Love and peace are who I am. In these challenging times, it is so important that I take these few minutes to remind myself, to nurture myself, as to who I am. I love myself unconditionally. I love myself with all my weaknesses and mistakes, my goodness and my beauty. For it is only when I can love myself in this true way and accept myself for who I am will I be able to improve, to grow, to expand, expand my capacity in this new year. Let me give myself, let me give my life a fresh perspective. At this point, I invite you to refresh yourself with the different things that you made note of, different ways you were going to improve yourself, the things you were going to keep, the things you were going to change, the things you were going to add. Take this moment now to reflect on that. What is it you're going to keep? What you want to change? And what you would like to add to bring the freshness in your life in this new year. Envision yourself being like that. Envision yourself living it out. Sometimes it may not be that easy. Whenever there is a bit of a challenge, remind yourself that you have it inside of you. It is who you are. There isn't anything that you need that you cannot have. Whether it is love, contentment, strength, forgiveness, compassion. You have it. At this time, I also remind you that there is the higher power, the divine source, the unlimited source of spiritual energy, always available. I just need to connect. When I connect, also invite that divine energy into the room of my mind. And let that light fill my room, adding new freshness. I can do this anytime, all the time. Let me stay in this new experience for another moment or two. Thank you. And I wish you all the best. Stay well, stay healthy, and may this year be as you like it. Thank you for joining us today. Om Shanti.